Kyle Tucker has to be one of the most underrated stars in baseball today. He was always known as a highly touted prospect in Houston's system, and last year he broke out. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's rewind back to 2015. Tucker was one of the best high school bats in the nation as he was being considered for the top overall pick. He was all around an elite prospect, and he ended up going to Houston with the 5th overall pick. And obviously with a high school prospect like Tucker, there's going to be a couple years of development before they reach the big leagues because there is a massive difference between the competition in high school and major leagues. But Tucker ultimately ended up making his debut in 2018. And like I said before, Tucker was a highly rated prospect, so expectations were very high. But for Tucker, his 2018 debut season was a disaster. He played in 28 games where he hit 141 with no home runs. And at this point, Astro fans were obviously worrying a little bit with such a highly rated prospect, but for Tucker, he was still so young and had plenty of time to develop. Moving over to 2019, Tucker's playing time was limited in the big leagues, but in the 28 games he played, he was productive. All in all, he hit .269 with 4 home runs, 11 RBIs, and 5 stolen bases to go along with an .857 OPS. This was an extremely small sample size, but Astro fans were excited to see Tucker producing like they were expecting him to. And this leads us into 2020, where Tucker yet again produced. In the shortened 60-game season, he played in all but 2 games where he hit .268 with 9 home runs, 42 RBIs to go along with 8 stolen bases and an .837 OPS. And up to this point, Tucker was starting to look like the player the Astros were expecting to get when they drafted him 5th overall just a few years back. The one issue with Tucker up to this point in his career is that he had never played a full season. In fact, this 58-game season that he played in 2020 was the most he had played in his career. So people were really questioning whether Tucker could really keep up this pace for a full 162-game season. But in 2021, Kyle Tucker proved all the doubters wrong. He broke out and played better than he had in his previous seasons. In 2021, Tucker played in 140 games where he hit .294 with 30 home runs, 92 RBIs to go along with 14 stolen bases, a .917 OPS, and a 5.7 WAR. And for Tucker, early on in the season, he was struggling a little bit. He wasn't hitting for the best average. He wasn't getting the bat on the ball. But later on in the season, he really upped his play and played like an MVP. So as slow of a start as it was for Tucker in 2021, for the final few months, he showed he can play at a very, very high level for a very long time. On top of the elite offense, Tucker played very well defensively in right field. While he's not the most athletic or speedy right fielder in the world, he did have 10 defensive runs saved. So all in all, Tucker was one of the better players in baseball last year, and I really don't think he got the recognition he deserved. And I have 2 reasons why I believe Tucker doesn't get the recognition he should. Number 1, he's played on very good teams up to this point in his career. He's been surrounded by very good hitters who seem to get more appreciation than he does. And number 2, he is not the most exciting player in the world. He's not like a Ronald Acuna or Fernando Tatis, but his play speaks for itself. He's consistent day in and day out. This guy produces for Houston. So all things considered, as underrated as Tucker has been up to this point in his career, I believe he has lived up to the expectations that were set when he was drafted very early back in 2015. Now looking forward into this 2022 season, I believe Tucker should be a dark horse MVP candidate. Last year, he showed us he can do it all. He can hit, he can run, he can play defense, and he's just all around an amazing player. So I absolutely believe Tucker will have similar numbers to last year, if not better. He's going to be hitting in the middle of a very solid lineup, and on top of that, he is entering his prime years. And one other thing I want to mention is that Kyle Tucker up to this point in his career has never been named to an all-star team, so I absolutely believe that this year he will be named to his first all-star team. I could really see Tucker hitting around 40 home runs, all while hitting 300 and stealing about 15 to 20 bases while providing gold glove defense out in right field. So in my eyes, Tucker is a very underrated player. He's a sleeper MVP candidate in my opinion. I would not be surprised at all to see him in the MVP race come September. So Tucker, very underrated, but very, very good. Alright, so that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think of Kyle Tucker below, whether you think he has a shot at the MVP or not. And as always, if you guys do enjoy the content, feel free to subscribe. I'm going to continue to post a lot more baseball videos here as we get into the 2022 season. And lastly, I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.